from an overall law enforcement standpoint, because what my conversation has been in the Black community is, and you just hit on something, and Anderson Cooper talked about it last night on his show, implicit bias. Not the explicit bias, but the implicit, that which dwells in all people. And they referenced the 1940s doll test that these Black psychologists did back in the 40s, where children, I'm talking about small children, all, including Black children, when asked the question, which doll is evil, the Black doll was selected. Which doll was dumb, the Black doll was selected. Which doll was good, the white doll was selected. So, and then that test was done over. CNN commissioned this just a few years back. Same result. And we're talking about 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, children, where their parents are not teaching them, to hate, Black folks, but it's already embedded. So they were making a correlation how those children end up becoming older, and they still have this implicit bias. And they were talking about how this plays into, those entities that are law enforcement individuals. I myself know directly of this because the Caucasian police officer that was killed a few years ago by the captain's son, Timothy Puny, he and I grew up together in Queensborough. So I know of his racial bias because he grew up right across the street from me, both of the twins, and both of them became police officers. So I can speak directly to this because neither one had gone through any cultural sensitivity training or cultural diversity training, but they became law enforcement personnel. So my question to you is, if you were elected, would you focus on those types of things in terms of cultural diversity training, cultural sensitivity training for your deputies?
Most definitely. We were in great need for cultural diversity training, completely. And I think that part of the solution is like I said before, is getting with community leaders, and not just white community leaders, and not just Black community leaders, but all community leaders. The other thing is to maintain diversity within your department. So, and start with the very top. It should be diverse from the very top to the very bottom. And so because there are equally qualified individuals in Caddo Parish that can work at 505 Travis Street and the upper administration of the Sheriff's Office, just as well as there are those that can work at the jail. And I think that there needs to be that. If there are going to be 10 captains in administration, then 5 need to be African American, 5 need to be Caucasian. And by doing this, you're setting a precedent, you're setting an example. And so then the public perception is key. Because the public perception, let's say you have 10 African Americans and there are 10 Caucasians, the public perception it's going to be, hey, he's got 10 Caucasian individuals or 10 African American individuals in there, and it's going to be negative from the get-go. So if you can immediately get in there and change that, it starts from the top, and then it has to trickle down to all the deputies. And they also, and deputies, you have great deputies that work at the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office, and I think they would welcome cultural diversity training. Some will, some won't. Regardless, we all need it. Everyone needs it. And you can see throughout the whole entire United States with significant events that are constantly continuing to occur, and they're not stopping. That trend is not over. That trend has just started. And so I think it starts. So as the sheriff, I can't control all the money in the parish or anything like that. I don't want to control anything. I just want to be a leader that can set an example for a department, and in hopes that the majority of those people that work for me and with me will follow that lead and interact with the community and try to make Caddo Parish a better and safer place where we can all get along, where it's not a lot of button heads. And you need another important thing is you need to get along and have a relationship with every single agency. If one person, I'm not going to single anybody out. Let's just say if one individual, one community leader doesn't see things the way you do, you don't start political corruption investigation against this individual just because he sees things differently. If an African American contractor goes out and does something and it wasn't a crime when he did it, I think we all know what I'm talking about. It wasn't a crime when he did it. The district attorney said, hey, it wasn't a crime when he did it. And then the sheriff comes back and says, listen, just arrest him for something, just get him on anything. Well, that's what we need to get away from. Those things should stop. If it's not a crime, it's safety in our community. And so, and we need to stop. We definitely need to change the way things are going like that.
So if elected, you would be in favor of cultural diversity training?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Just one simple question. With all that is going on, most people can't see it, but it does exist. Everybody in this room is aware of the racial component that exists in this country. But racism and its ignorance will soon die out. But there's a cultural racism that most people don't see. And it's got something to do with big business, how money can influence people. And it don't have anything to do with black or white. It has something to do with your status, who you are, where you at. I mean, you just made a perfect example of it. You know, these guys get badges based upon, you know, who they are and how they contribute money. So that's the new form of racism that seems to be existing now. But my question to you is if the Lord permits it, and I say it sincerely, it's in you, if the Lord permits it, you wind up becoming sheriff. I heard you say that you want to be diverse in every, you know, trying to reach out, and that's a beautiful thing. That's needful. But reach out to the whole community and involve everyone, not just on election time. But my question to you is this, is that with all that is going on now, when you get elected, what would be your primary, the first thing on your agenda that you would decide that you want to do in order to bring this relationship between law enforcement and the community, to rebuild on that relationship? Because we tell the community, I'm a pastor, we tell the community, okay, be involved with the police. But now we're seeing on television that the police will not tell on other police officers because there's a code there where I can't tell on you and you don't tell on me because we work together. But we ask these citizens to say, look here, we want you to tell us what such and such is doing, and we want you to be involved. But we are not going to, what they call on the street snitching. We are not going to snitch, and I hate to use that word, or we're not going to tell on our law enforcement when they break the rules. How would you speak to that component of your officers when you become mayor?
Law enforcement.
I mean, when you become sheriff.
Law enforcement officers should be held to the exact same standards as every other citizen. And as I've said several times today, is that we're public servants, and and the other thing is, as a deputy, you can lose that job just as quick as you got it. And so, if there is an officer out there that is not sensitive to cultural diversity and creates a pattern, which is more than once, and then that officer's called in and receives cultural diversity training or whatever needs to happen, and that officer can't do that, then obviously we have to replace that officer. I mean, you can't. It's going to take some significant event. It's going to take some going against the grain to change the status quo, and that's what I'm prepared to do. I want that. We need that. I'm from here. I was born here. I want to continue to live here, and the only way to make those changes is to not go with the current flow. I can't sit here and sell badges. I can't sit here and try to continue to please one sector of the community while the rest of the community is getting burned and treated differently. We all need to be treated the exact same way, and that's not something that can happen overnight. You start that with your administration, and you meet with your administration, you meet with your captains, you meet with your lieutenants, and you meet with your sergeants, and you tell each of these captains, lieutenants, and sergeants, listen, you get with your deputies, and you tell them this is the change, this is what's going to happen. We're going to be more compassionate. We're going to listen. Before we jump out and start talking and be an accusation, we're going to listen. We're going to make sure we're in the right place at the right time, and we're talking to the right individual. And we're going to make sure that the events that transpire on that traffic stop or at that house or that investigation are the same, are handled the same way that we would want them handled if we were on the other end of that. And so you put yourself in their shoes, and that's part of the cultural diversity training, is we put ourselves in the shoes and in the position of those on the other end. And it's got to start there. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's not something anybody can come in on a white horse and say today. It's not going to happen. But it's got to start somewhere.
Right.
Someone has to
And
start.
can I just say this, just a quick follow-up. Just recently, something just happened to me just recently. I called a police officer out to one of my rental properties. And as soon as the police got in the car, I'm already introducing myself because I know the tension and what's going on. And as soon as I got in the car, I said, "How are you doing? I'm Pastor Mays." And the first thing this officer did was drag up. I said, "I'm the one who called you. I mean, this is my home. Somebody is on the property that is barred from this property, and I want to see them removed." Well, back up one minute. I'm like, "Man, kill that, please." But most people don't know because we're not, a lot of people are not. So I went on and applied. I said, when you get through saying, "Bag up, I am the homeowner of this particular property, and this is a rental property, and there's a person here that should not be here." And I said, the only reason I called you out here for you to go in with me to see what damage has been done to this property, so that you can do an initial report. That's what I called you for.
And typically, the general public doesn't see this until there's a significant event, and that's unfortunate, and that's exactly what's going on. These things are happening, but people are scared to snitch or say anything because they're afraid of the backlash.
That's it.
And that's what needs to go away. That's why you need to do this to the department. You need to be able to call someone in administration. That's what they're there for. They work for you. Your tax dollars pay for every single one of them. And so you need to have full and direct access, and especially as a pastor, you represent your congregation. You need to have that access and say, "Hey, this is what happened to me." I mean, and I'll give you one example. I won't say where or name any names, but there's an incident that happened in Southeast Shreveport where an individual walked into an affluent person's home, and this individual was disoriented and not 100% sure he even knew where he was going. Walks in, realizes he's in the wrong place, and he walks out. Well, the people want to pursue charges, so I went and talked to the individual and pursued the charges. Well, I got a phone call from the sheriff about 10 or 11 o'clock that night, and the sheriff said, "Listen, this happened in the city limits, not outside in the parish, in the city limits where Shreveport Police are normally patrol." And the sheriff called me and said, "Listen," he said, "anytime somebody walks into someone's house in a gated subdivision in Southeast Shreveport, I need to be notified." And I said, "Well, what would you, that's Shreveport Police's job, that's their jurisdiction, what would you do differently?" He goes, "Well, if someone walks into a home in a gated subdivision, a prominent community, I need to be notified." And I said, "What would you do about it?" He said, "Well, I'd have armed guards stand outside their house, that person would brought to justice." And I said, "Well, listen, that's wonderful, because last night and earlier this week, that happened in Cedar Grove, Morningsport, Lakeside, Shreveport. People, they did drive-bys, they broke into homes. So I need to let all those individuals know that just because they live in the city doesn't mean you're not going to send armed guards to their house also." And his response was, "You know what I mean?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I understand exactly what you mean. What if it goes on behind gates of affluent contributors? That's where it is. That's what needs to change. And that's what we can't. That's what needs to be done away with."
That's it.
Question. Everybody has to live with a grade at some time. As far as the Caddo Sheriff's Office and the Shreveport Police Department, if you give them a grade from 1 to 10, 10 being excellent, how effective are they in their mission? And how racially diverse training effective are they in their mission? Each of them.
I don't think I have the background to properly assess that. I think that would take a lot of. I don't have.
Well, if you gave them a general grade, obviously you're putting yourself out to do a better job. How would you grade them?
I couldn't grade the officers. I don't mean that's just.
No, as a department.
Right, as a department. Well, I think that's compare. The only way you can do that is compare them to another department that's doing something differently. I mean, I can't give them a grade without comparing them to something else, without comparing them to another department.
Well, a standard of effectiveness and diversity.
I think that we all need cultural diversity training, and I think that if we did that, then it would definitely improve both departments. Definitely.
They don't get it now?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, there may be that may be a small portion of the academy, but I haven't seen it.